Last night brought us yet another delay of Obamacare, another deadline made meaningless. You know, he hasn't put enough loopholes into the law already. The administration is now resorting to an honor system to enforce it. The hell is this, a joke? Listen, this is part of a long-term pattern of this administration manipulating the laws for its own convenience. And it's not hard to understand why the American people question this administration's commitment to the rule of law.
All right, folks, you saw it, you heard it. John Boehner joining us now is Grover Norquist, founder and president of Americans for Tax Reform. Hello, Grover.
Hi, good to be with you.
Well, there's John Boehner getting angry a little bit over the latest delay in Obamacare, the unilateral declaration by Obama that the deadline of March 31st will be extended.
Well, remember how some tennis players throw their rackets on the ground or in the air when
Yes.
they think the judges are wrong? Well, can you imagine how congressmen and senators feel when they pass laws, the president signs them, and then the president decides to move the line, not just to make a bad call, to announce that the law that he signed, he's decided to change it unilaterally outside of the rule of law, outside of the Constitution. And I would have said that the word to describe Boehner's reaction was sputtering. You know how people they're sputtering mad because they're not only angry but they're nonplussed. How is this happening? Why am I responding to this? This is nuts. And I mean, somebody pushes you, you're mad, but you understand what happened, right?
Right.
Here's a guy comes in and goes, I know the law says that, but I didn't do it. You go, you can't do that. Well, he just did.
Well, Grover, that begs a real big question here. I mean, I guess they're just going to, feign outrage or be outraged or sputter in outrage, but what are they going to do about it? I mean, when are they going to actually say, enough of this lawless president, this imperial presidency, and it's time to do something to stop it?
Well, it's a little bit like asking why the Ukrainians don't do something about Crimea, because they can't. You can't sue if you're a congressman.
Right.
I'm not a lawyer, but I asked the question.
No standing. I know
okay.
that, yeah.
The president doesn't enforce the law. What do you do? Well, somebody has to get standing, and evidently congressmen who vote for a bill don't have standing about the fact that the president doesn't want to enforce it. Now, states, after a while, went after Obamacare, where they said, here's our state has been affected. When you delay your own law, since the law is destructive, when you push off hurting people, it is kind of hard to say that you've been damaged, but the whole thing's trying to keep afloat a bad bill by delaying and spreading out the pain so that the Democrats don't lose the next election.
Yeah, well, Larry Kudlow told us earlier that Obama is killing Obamacare all by himself. He believes the individual mandate will just go bye-bye. And there'll be no deadline. They'll just keep pushing things.
Well, this is a very interesting one because I love the idea sometimes, since most laws are annoying and most laws ought not to be there, of telling a Republican president, here's the new rule according to Obama. If you think a law isn't a good idea, you just announced you're not enforcing it for the next 6 months. I don't know, the capital gains tax, the death tax, you pick it. I mean, are we really down to that? I mean, I would like to repeal bad laws, not ignore them, because someday they'll snap back up and
Absolutely.
be reimposed.
Well, there's one thing Republicans can do, and of course they dare not talk about it, and I'm not exactly sure why, but if they took back the Senate and they have the House and the President of the United States, keeps in their eyes violating the Constitution and breaking the law, they certainly can impeach him.
Well, there's that, and I think we should recognize that impeachment of judges and presidents was not just for high crimes, but for violating rule of law. I would consider that to be at least a misdemeanor to not enforce the law.
I would think so.
Interestingly, I think there's an opportunity to take the Senate, a likelihood of the Republicans capturing the Senate, and then, as you say, short of impeachment, if you have a Republican House and a Republican Senate, again, the Republicans have to pick up a net gain of 6 Senate seats in order to control the Senate. They're down 5. They need to pick up 6. They really need to pick up about 9 because you want to make sure you control it not just after the 2014 election, but also the 2016 election, which may be a little more difficult because so many people won in a Republican landslide year in 2010.
Right.
But there are 7 Senate seats that are likely to go Republican just off the top. You have West Virginia, as well as Montana and South Dakota. These are all 3 open seats that the Republicans have a serious candidate and the Democrats don't. Then there are the 4 Democrats who are in trouble because they supported Obamacare, having kind of fibbed about it.
Pryor.
In North Carolina, Pryor in Arkansas, Louisiana, Landrieu, Alaska, Begich. Those 4 are likely to lose. Those are strong Republican states. The Republicans have either nominated or about to nominate a grown-up, serious Republican. And then there are new states that are that's 7, which is enough to have control.
Right.
But add now Colorado, where Congressman Quarry wasn't going to run for the Senate, and people thought perhaps we wouldn't have a strong candidate. He's decided to run. Udall, the incumbent Democrat, is quite weak, both as a candidate and as an individual. Then you move to Michigan, where the Republican Secretary of State, former Secretary of State, is running neck and neck with an incumbent congressman. Iowa, where the Democrat who's running for the seat, doesn't poll very well. We haven't picked a Republican yet. We've got a big primary fight. But we do know the incumbent Democrat's weak, and he just insulted the senior senator from the state, Grassley, by saying he was no good because he was a farmer and not a lawyer.
Right. Could you imagine that?
I think there are more farmers and more friends of farmers than there are lawyers and friends of lawyers in Iowa.
I would assume so. Assume so.
It's not just rude. It suggests an incredible entire worldview behind that snotty comment made to a bunch of lawyers.
Yeah.
And
much like Pryor, if I might interrupt, much like Pryor saying that Congressman Cotton feels a sense of entitlement because he served in the military, that he should serve in the Senate, and it doesn't work that way, and it's not a requisite for being in the Senate. And I found that to be very offensive, and he doubled down on that one.
Well, it's not only offensive if you or I said it, but the guy who said it is in the Senate only because he shares the last name with his dad, who handed the Senate seat to him. There's no way this guy Pryor, the senator, would be a senator today if it wasn't off the name idea of his dad. Talk about it. So it's like a Kennedy kid going, everybody should make it on their own like me.
Yeah, right. That's absolutely right. I want to play a Harry Reid cut for you and get a quick response as we end the interview. Give it a shot. Here it is.
Sure.
There's no hiccup or delay. We have hundreds of thousands of people who tried to sign up and they didn't get through. There was a wonderful piece on public radio a couple days ago. Connecticut, they're doing extremely well with health care, and what they've done is set up a couple of stores that people can come in and get their health care. It's worked out very well. And listening to that piece reminds me of why we had to extend this time. There are some people who are not like my grandchildren who can handle everything so easily on the internet. And these people need a little extra time. It's not, the example they gave is a 63-year-old woman came in to the store and she said, I almost got it, but every time I just about got there, it would cut me off. We have a lot of people just like this, through no fault of the internet, because people are not educated how to use the internet.
All right, we got 20 seconds. He's blaming the internet, not the people, not the website.
Well, what he just described as a failure of the website. That's it. They put together a lousy website. Then they said they did. Then they said they fixed it. Now they admit that it's cutting off 63-year-old women. This thing is a mess, and it ought to be shut down.
All right, Grover, thank you very much, sir. Grover Norquist, ladies and gentlemen. Give Me 5 is next on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax Television.
What you don't know about Pope Francis will